Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Joanna Daniel. If this is the first time you are catching me live, I am founder of Wounds to Scars, where we work with adult survivors of childhood trauma and abuse. We do that through conferences, retreats, and online courses that provides a safe place for people to heal. Now, I've been doing a series since last week, and I said that this was going to be the last, but there's always more coming out of it, more questions, more reflections, more things coming out of it. So I was reflecting on it this morning and the boundaries series that I've been doing and just how to deal with those difficult relationships that we have. And this thought came, so I thought I'm going to come on and talk about that today. So I've been doing a series on boundaries and how to boundary yourself with families and some of the things that we can do. I wrote an extended guide that I've put the link above or below the video, depending on which platform you're seeing this on, the Christian's Guide to Letting Go of Toxic Family Members, and an extended guide of an article that I wrote 2 years ago, because it keeps coming up and people have conversations, people have questions and wanting to know what to do and how to do it. So I wrote that guide and I am just it's just an extension. So I was reflecting this morning. And as the title said, you can't, let me just get the title correctly because it's disappeared from here. You can't repair what's broken in someone else. You can't repair what's broken in someone else. And sometimes that's the temptation, I think. And sometimes that's the journey that we go on. Sometimes it's a challenge, and sometimes it's not a conscious cognitive decision that we're making, that we're going to repair what's broken in someone else. But from the fact that we hold on for so long without acknowledging what's true about this person, about the relationship, and about the interaction that we have with them or with the people, that's really in effect what we're trying to do. We're trying to fix it. We're trying to fix them. We're trying to get them to change. If they would just change, if they would just do this differently, if they would do this and if they would do that, then everything would be okay. And we know that, relationships become dysfunction when people in those relationships have issues with boundaries, when there's pain, when there's trauma, when there's relational difficulties. Those are the things that makes relationship difficult. Also, relationships are difficult when people in the relationships are not committed to change. When people don't want to change, then it makes the relationships even more challenging, because if we're of a relationship and we struggle with communication between us, and you won't change and I won't change, then the relationship won't change, because there is you and there's me and there's the relationship. So I have to see my part, you have to see your part, and together, as we fix what's our issue, the relationship becomes healthy and safe for both of us. All right. But you can't do that work for somebody else. They have to see it. They have to want to do it in order for it to be done. So you can't repair what's broken in someone else. You can see what's broken. And the more you fix you, the more you work on your issues, it becomes clearer what somebody else needs to do. I can see that people are coming on. So happy that you're here. Say hello. Let me know if you have any questions. So you can see what needs to be done, but you can't do anything about it. You can see it. It might not even be a good thing to point it out, because sometimes, depending on who we're talking to, how it's pointed out can become, they can deflect back onto you. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't tell people when something is wrong. You can, but sometimes some people are so defensive. Defense is their a coping strategy. And so when you point something out that's wrong, they'll push it back and can cause more harm to yourself, because you wanted to do something that was good and positive. So you can't repair what's broken in someone else. You can only fix in you. Now, what do you do then? What are the options that are available to you? If there's somebody that's in your life and the relationship is not going well, they just aren't changing, it's toxic, it's harmful, you're stressed, there's just so many things happening, so much happening, and you're tempted to work on them. So you're praying for them, you're fasting for them, you're talking to them. You don't have any boundaries with them because you feel like if you relax your boundaries, then that will make them change and that will make them different. And we've already discussed that here. And I've concluded that it won't. Relaxing your boundaries enable them. It enables them to stay in the position that they're in. Because when people have no incentive to change, why would they change? If you take away all the incentive from them for change, why would they change? So if they're doing things and it's harmful and you're thinking, if I'm going to do all that I can, all that I can to help, and all that you can to help means I'm going to not have any boundaries. I'm going to relax them. I'm just going to let them do what they want. I'm going to let them come and go. I'm going to let them get money. I'm going to let them ask. I'm going to let them speak to me anyway. I'm going to just keep doing because maybe that's what they'll need to change. That has never changed anyone. There's no incentive. As humans, we need incentive. We need to, like when you are working with your child and if you're stuck and you give them an incentive, how easy then is it for them to do the thing that you want them to do? Because they have an incentive. You go to work because you have an incentive. You get paid at a certain time every month. And so you show up to work Monday to Friday to get paid. That's why you go. You might get other things from your job as well. You might get pleasure. You might get fulfillment. You might love your job. And so you go for that too. But you go because you get paid. You wouldn't go to that job if they didn't pay you on whatever time every month or every week. You wouldn't keep going. So there's a reason for you to turn up. Some people still turn up at work, even though the environment is not great. The working conditions aren't great, but they turn up because of the incentive. You get paid. And it's the same thing when we're dealing with relationships that are harmful and difficult. So the boundary that your boss have is you need to be at work 9 every morning, and I expect you to work until 1 p.m. You can have a lunch break, but you need to get back at work at 1:30 or whatever time. Those are the boundaries, and you can leave at 5. Now you can work extra time. Some people will agree to pay you overtime, some won't. If you do it, that's on you. But there are boundaries around it, and you agree to that. So the exchange is you agree to these boundaries. That's your boss sets. You turn up at work and do what they say within the parameters that they give you. And then the incentive is you get paid every week or every month. And you continue that arrangement until you want to make another one with somebody else, with another company, another organization. You negotiate the contract if something starts to shift and it's not working out for you. If you're doing too many overtime and you're not getting paid, you go renegotiate your contract because you're saying, my job has changed and I feel like my job description needs to be changed because I'm doing a lot more than I used to do. Can we, talk about a promotion or a raise or payment for overtime? You renegotiate the contract. You will have an agreement and you move forward in that agreement or not. You understand then? Now, it's the same thing with our interpersonal relationships. Same thing. We have parameters. You need to know, what are my values? What are the things that are important to me? What are the things how does it affect me? And this is a way to find out, how does it affect me? How does it feel for me when they do what they do? And that will give you an indication of some of where your values lie. So I might not mind somebody turning up to my house without ringing. I do. I'm an introvert. But I might not mind that, but you might. Okay. So if they keep doing it, you have to say, well, I've asked you to ring before you come. Next time I won't open the door. You can choose whether you do that or not. So you're giving people the parameters, right? You can renegotiate that at any time. So you can leave it open and say, you know what, come on the weekend anytime. Doesn't matter. I'm always home. So they can turn up anytime on the weekend because that's what you say, right? So, but if you enable, right, this person to say, I'm going to come anytime, I'm going to do anything, and I'm going to leave anytime. I'm just going to leave your house a mess. I'm going to turn up with friends and have parties. I'm going to crash your garden. I'm just going to do what I want because you think if I let them do what they want, then the relationship is going to be okay. Then they'll change. They'll see that I love them. And that's sometimes that's the motivator when when we allow people to do whatever they want. We think when we do, they'll know that I love them. No, what they know is that you don't have any boundaries and you're an enabler. When I can say anything I want to somebody, to my siblings, to my parents, to my friend, when I can tell them anything I want, I can send abusive text messages, I can hang up the phone, I can do anything I want to them, and they still turn up at my birthday party because we're family. And they still invite me to theirs because we're family. And they're still going to have me to their house because they have to, because we're family. When people know that you'll do that, there's no incentive to change. None at all. Because under the banner of family, people believe that they can get away with anything and they'll always have access to you. You are not comfortable with that. You are not okay with that, but you allow them to do it. So my encouragement to you is to consider, why do I do that? Why do I allow anything? And as I'm saying that, there's a word that's coming up for me, and that's guilt. Oftentimes, when we allow it, when we enable, when we remove the boundaries and let people do what they want, there's an element of guilt that's underneath. So for you, the challenge for you is to work out, why do I feel guilty? What do I have to be guilty about? How come I let this family member do what they want? How come I let these people do what they want? What's that guilt about? Find out where the guilt is. The guilt, I'm going to tell you some reasons, some of the places where the guilt lies. And you can assess for yourself where your guilt lies. Sometimes, and I was in Portugal speaking to a complete stranger around the issue of when they ask me what I do, and I talk about what I do and with trauma. And they started telling me a situation about a brother, and it's the same thing. So culture, it doesn't matter. It's the same reason, guilt. They felt guilty because the brother was from they weren't from both parents. I don't remember which parent the brother was from. And so when the brother joined the family, there was some resentment or whatever he was going through, dealing with his sense of rejection. And so the way he related to the family was just out of anger and bitterness. And nothing they did was fixing it. So they were just doing the most to just open all the spaces to allow him access, which was not helping. Because access don't fix brokenness, access don't fix anger, and access don't fit the root of the bitterness. So that's one reason of the guilt. I feel like I had access to both parents and you didn't. And because you didn't have access to both of our parents, then it's okay for you to do exactly what you want to do because we love you. And I think this is how I'm going to show you that I love you. It won't work. And although I can understand the motivation for it, it won't fix it. It won't fix it. But you show love through boundaries. Look, you can come to me. I'm available. I'm available this time, right? So you can call me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 12 and 1. If they call you on a Thursday at 3 p.m., you can't pick up because it's Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday between 12 and 1. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, rather, between 12 and 1. So you boundary yourself and you make yourself available through a boundaried, well-considered way. So they know that, hey, you know what? Joanna is there for me. I can talk to her. I'm going to save the time to talk to her on a Monday. I'm not booking anything in that space between 12 and 1 because I really want to talk to her. And that's when she says she's available. So it begins to inform how they respond and relate to you because you're very clear about that. If they come to you with a thing that's too big for you, you acknowledge that. Look, I really understand. And I don't know why it is the way it is, but I can hear you're hurt. And I really think you need support around that. I can support you while you get support, but I can't support you with this thing. And so that's what it looks like. But you can't fix it, friends. You can't fix it. And I know you've been trying to fix it for a long time. You really have. But there also has to come a time when you have to realize that you can only take responsibility for you, how you feel, how the toxicity and the harm is affecting you. And you can only make decisions around that for you. If you struggle with boundaries, if you're struggling with, well, I'm a Christian, shouldn't I be doing this? Shouldn't we bear one another's burden? I hear that a lot. If you're struggling with how, I have a guide. I have something that can help you. And in the guide, I've looked at how to repair relationships, responsibility and accountability. I've looked at boundaries. I've looked at the root of why relationships sometimes get broken. I've looked at what healthy relationships look like and how you can have that. And some others, right? How the place of prayer in the decision making around what to do next. Okay. So you can find the guide either above or below this video. Have a look at the guide, read it. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you've tried these things and they haven't worked, and what else you think you might need to be able to help you to begin to protect yourself from the damage and the harm that is in these relationships. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for coming on live. Let me know if you're watching the replay. Leave a question or a comment, and I'll address it. Thank you so much. Have a great day.